Welcome to The Gorgeous Effect, the podcast that's about to rock your marketing world. I'm Julie Chanel, and with my co-founder, Kathy Olson, we're the masterminds behind Funnel Gorgeous and FG Funnels. We're about to drop some serious tea on how to create funnels that not only look amazing, but actually convert into customers. We'll chat mouth-watering offers, copy, design, and give you an inside look of some of our best and worst funnels. No smoke and mirrors, just real strategies that work from two ladies who have been around the funnel block. So grab your coffee or something stronger, we won't judge, and get ready to unleash the gorgeous effect on your business. It's time to show the world what you've got. Let's do this. Hey everyone, this is Julie and Kathy. We're back with another episode of The Gorgeous Effect. Today we are talking about rich relationships. So we are going to dedicate this podcast episode to Selena Soo, who's an amazing marketer and coach in the online business space. She just launched her book, Rich Relationships, Create $1 Million Network for Your Business. You can get it wherever books are sold. Kathy and I are both holding a copy of it right now. And I thought it would be fun to talk about how we at Funnel Gorgeous develop our rich relationships, build our network, and grow our reach. So I'm going to kick it off to you since you are the queen of finding cool people to hang out with.
Cool people to hang out with. I think for me, it kind of happened naturally. Like I don't have like a lot of friends that have anything in common in real life. Like in San Diego, I just have like friends, from like high school and college and stuff. And as you get older, like you have less and less in common with them. So I think like me meeting business people has been just me trying to make friends, which sucks because then my friends are all over the place, but it is what it is. But I look forward to those times when I can just like really like just be myself, because I feel like, business takes over a lot of my life, obviously, but in a good way. And it's what I geek out on. And so I can't wait for these things. And so for me, I think it was really just, it was born in that, like me wanting connections with other humans. And then I was like, wow, this actually is really helpful, like in business, when you like, hey, I know someone that knows someone that knows, hey, did you know so and so? Have you talked to, oh, she's really good at that. And like, but also I think on the other side, you have to put out there what you're looking for in order for people to kind of connect. Like, yeah, you have to kind of, you have to be able to say, I'm really wanting to do this. And then you'll like, you won't believe it. Like your connections will be like, oh my gosh, I know someone that does that. And you're like, wait, you do? So like, yeah, I've also like, Selena's been such a really cool person just to watch her grow like over all of these years too. She's always been so nice and so sweet. And she totally like lives up to like that. She's just like all in it, and so I think it's really cool. And so, yeah, I asked Julie, she just came off of the event, her like launch party, I guess it was kind of, and so I asked Julie to kind of tell us all about it because I wasn't there. So I didn't I was feeling all the FOMO, trust me.
Well, it's funny you said I started building these relationships because I wanted friends, and I think she talks about it in her book and she also embodies it. It's, you can tell when people are building relationships just to extract something from you. I think she calls it transactional givers. And these are people where you can just feel coming off of them that the only reason they're interested in you is because they're about to make an ask. And then, she talks about the other side, which are the I don't remember what she calls it in the book, but it's the people who just give everything to everybody all the time. They're super porous energetically, and like they have no boundaries, and they get burnt out, and they feel like, man, why does nobody ever pay me back? And then she talks about strategic giving. So for you, I think the fact that you were genuinely looking for connection, people can feel that, right? And so they know like you're not just coming to them because you want something from them. And so then the relationship develops naturally. And then, we joined Stacy Tuschel's mastermind. Then she became an amazing affiliate for us for FG Funnels. And that was just all born out of a friendship because that's, essentially what you wanted. And so that's really a lot of what this book is about. I mean, she didn't name it How to Make Friends, but it's a lot of what she teaches,
Yeah.
So I did go to Selena's event, and I'm not always the one who travels a lot, but it was in New York City. And so I live close, and it was really fun event. Lots of people. It was interesting. Lots of people knew Funnel Gorgeous, and I didn't necessarily know them. And so I think it's just evidence that we have been building a long game of building our brand and building relationships so that people know who we are before we even show up in a room. And that is not just an accident. That's what happens when you are making a more long-term play in a brand versus like you don't really care about the brand and you're just going to scale a funnel and hope you make a bajillion dollars. Most people knew what who Funnel Gorgeous was and what Funnel Gorgeous was, even if they didn't know me, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I think you make a really good point about like the long game, because I do think that that is kind of when I look at back at like things that have made a big change in our business and stuff, there's a lot of relationships that I can say that like that was like literally the reason that things happened. But also like they happened a lot later. Like it wasn't, and sometimes, every once in a while there's like it's immediate, like you meet someone, you're like, let's go. Like that does happen, but probably a little bit less often, I would say, than the long term stuff. Like I met Stacy back in when before I had purple hair, like
Yep.
days, which is even before I met Julie. Like so, like there's certain things that and I when we went to one of Selena's like online, she had like an online networking thing several years ago, and there
Mhm.
was people that I met at that I'm still friends with, and it was just like a virtual. Like there was nothing. She just invited us, and we just like went on and just kind of talked to people. And there was people that I met at that, like just so it's really cool. I think just like you're like almost planting seeds out there, but sometimes they just like come through, and sometimes they don't. Like, and that's okay too. You meet people and they're in and out of your life, and that's whatever. I don't like put too much like okay it has to be something. I just kind of like try to show up the way that I want to, just as myself, right? And just be who I
Yeah.
am, and then just hope someday maybe we'll, meet again. But there's
Yeah.
also people that I saw at the event, people I've met over time, and I'm like, oh, you guys are finally in the same room together.
Finally gonna
So it's
meet.
kind of cool that you got to meet some of the same people that I've met, over time. So really cool.
Well, one thing that she talks about a lot in her book, and I think she really embodies it, is this idea of breathtaking generosity and having an abundance mindset. And I think you said something like you got to sort of hold it with an open hand. And I came from the ClickFunnels world, and there was a lot of us versus them values. And it was unite against a common enemy and, throw stones at your competitors. And a lot of that energy, which is not abundant and generous in its nature. And so it's interesting because sometimes people come into our world and they're surprised when we'll say to people, yeah, use whatever software you want. We think FG Funnels is awesome and we think it's the best choice, but you are welcome in our world even if you use something else. And or they'll say like, why are you, still using this tool or that tool? Aren't you all in on your tool? And we 100% are. And they kind of bring that mentality of like, you're either for us or against us. And we've developed some amazing relationships with other software companies. I'm thinking about Teachable. We have a great relationship with Teachable, and they've invited us into their world. They've invited us to teach. They've invited us to events. We obviously, use Teachable, and like there's this generosity exchange and abundance exchange that you don't see when you take on this us versus them mindset, And so that's something that I think we value that's very similar to kind of how Selena talks about it in her book.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool to kind of explore what does that look like? Like what has it looked like maybe in the past, but also what is that looking like for us in the future, and like what are our plans for the
Yeah,
future?
I mean, you're asking me long-term questions, and I'm like buried in present-term problems. But I think there are like companies that we love to, it's not an either or. Let me just give an example. So we have a bunch of people who are FG Funnels users who love FG Funnels, but they also love Flowdesk. And Flowdesk, if you don't know what Flowdesk is, it's an email marketing company, and they really focus on these beautiful newsletters. And so we said, you know what, let's go ahead and build a direct integration. Now technically, does FG Funnels do what Flowdesk does? Yes, it does. So I like to give people options, like if you want to use Flowdesk with FG Funnels, that's cool. And so we're currently in the end stages of building a direct integration so that those users can have that without having to set up, a Zap or a function that's a little bit more technical. So that's an example of sort of abundance mindset thinking around, specifically around tech and software.
Yeah, and a lot of the situations where like I meet someone and then we kind of become friends and stuff is that like a lot of times it will collapse time in ways when people have tried something like it, they've tried even with the DI, we just, the DI mastermind just happened the week before that.
Yeah.
And there's so much like collaboration in a single room like that. It's like, oh, has anyone tried this? No, I've tried that. Yes, I haven't tried that, or I've tried it. Have you tried this? Like, and so a lot of times when you get in these groups of like, the relationships and stuff like that, you'll start to kind of shortcut your path, not just like with relationships, but with advice, with someone's tried something, again, like connecting to people, something like that. Because there's a lot of times when I'll be like, we'll even be looking at a tool for Funnel Gorgeous or for FG Funnels, and then a friend will be like, oh, I already tried that one, it didn't work because of this, and they like kind of they'll show you something in the future, so like don't go that way. Like
Yeah.
there's a
Sure,
problem,
it's
or do go
definitely
that way.
collapsing time.
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
not only is it the actual relationship or like maybe working together one to one, but it's like actually like, looking out for each other, I guess, along the way, and kind of saying, hey, or who's trying this? Have you tried that? Or like, getting on these calls of just like, with people and kind of going, hey, I'm trying
Yeah.
this, I'm having this problem. What do you guys think? And having kind of people help you like troubleshoot.
Yeah. Another thing she talks about in her book is this idea of a generosity fund and also a rich relationships budget. And someone asked at the event, like, what's the difference between the two? And I thought this was interesting. So the generosity fund is actually what you're willing to give away in pursuit of developing relationships that, ultimately will build your net worth. And so that could be things like free coffee chats. That could be, scholarships to your courses. It could be pro bono or discounted coaching. It could be actual money. And so that's a generosity fund. And then she talks about the rich relationship like expense line. And that's more about like how much money you're willing to spend to develop relationships. So like at Funnel Gorgeous, we have a rich relationships budget, right? And it's a healthy 5-figure budget. And that is the budget that we use to develop relationships and go to events and things like that. And so you might see this, you might have an education budget in your business. Like you might be listening to this and go, oh, yeah, I have an education budget for courses and things like that. But what's your relationship budget? Which I thought was an interesting take. And that can look lots of different ways. But I was thinking about for our community, if we have a free network at Marketer's Heart, but if you are a service provider or you're a funnel builder or you are in ads, one of our communities, FG Society, is a really top-notch community from the sense that like if you need collaboration, other people to like have eyeballs on things. And so I just wanted to put that out there if you're listening. FG Society, if you do fg-society.com, it's a certification, but it has a really vibrant community that we've been nurturing for the past 5 years.
Yeah, and it was also like the next level when we had the in-person events, Marketer's Heart and stuff. It was like everybody from FG Society was like having an FG Society meetup, and kind of coming, and even with our Disney events, our small FG retreats,
Mm-hmm.
like those everyone that's gone, like they're all like BFFs like since
Yeah.
then. Like I don't, yeah, like even like the original one, we did it
Yep.
what 3 or 4 times.
Yep.
Every time like those people have gone so close to each other, and especially the last one that we did last year was like all of those people talk almost on a daily basis, so it is really
Yeah.
cool to kind of even foster those places where people, whether it's online or in person, or sometimes then it blends, it starts online and then it goes in person.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yep.
think it's cool to be like the connector of people. So that's like one of the things. It's like, okay, it's almost like next level. Like phase one, you start to make the relationships. Phase two, you start to make spaces where those relationships can happen, right? And then there's like a whole new, like really cool unlocking, I guess, when you're actually connecting other people to each other.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you are, a new business owner and you are reasonably convinced that funnels and tactics and things like that are going to help you in your business, you are correct. But don't forget that relationships matter too. They matter a whole heck of a lot. And sometimes if you don't have a big audience and you're like, man, how do I like break out? I can tell you that like the people that invest in our communities, become star students and participate, they get on our radar. And then when we're out there and we're chatting, we're like, oh, you should check out so and so because they're really good funnel builder or designer. And so I can think of one funnel builder in FG Society. I think I've sent her, I mean, it's got to be at least 75 referrals in the last 3 or 4 years. And so it's a fantastic way to build your business. And so just don't discount the energy and effort in joining different rooms.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing for sure. It's like you don't have preach it to the choir for me because I'm like, yes, this is the thing. And I do think that sometimes we tend to like get like, oh, well, do I have time for this? And I would say like you don't have time to not do this. Like I think that like, business ownership is lonely, can get really lonely, especially like if you don't have anyone that understands in your real life. Like it can really nourish your soul. So for any other reason, and I know it's hard, it's not fun. Sometimes we don't feel like showing up. Sometimes it's annoying. Like Julie's like, what? I just did this right after DI, and I'm like, girl, it will be worth it. Trust me, And then of course it definitely was. So we just want to encourage you to kind of put yourself out there because we know it's not easy, but it's totally worth it.
Yeah, awesome. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Yeah, and go pick up Selena's book at Amazon, Rich Relationships. It's really good. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We're just getting started with this podcast, and we're so excited to have you on this journey with us. If you found value in today's episode, we'd be over the moon if you'd consider subscribing. It's like a virtual high five that keeps us going. And hey, if you're feeling extra gorgeous, leaving a review would mean the world to us. Your words not only make our day, but it also helps other amazing folks just like you find our show through your review. Lastly, if you know someone who could use a little sales pep talk, why not spread the love? Share this episode and let's grow this gorgeous community together.